I know Jen said it's not a cameo show, but I'm still wondering who's going to show up this week. Hey everyone, Jeremy here. Today I'm about to watch the new episode of She-Hulk. I blanked on what number we're on. I believe we're on 4 at this point. And I've enjoyed this series so far. I know some people aren't into the comedy of it, and I can get that because, quite frankly, there's been some Marvel stuff that I thought leaned too heavily into comedy. But in my mind, as someone who actually watched like at least 1 or 2 seasons of Ally McBeal when it was originally on, this is a nice, well, let's say reminder of that show while still being firmly in the MCU and raising a very good question last week about who's after her power. That has me really intrigued because there are a few names that have been dropped out there, a few in the comments alone that we were talking about last week that I'd be really excited to see. So let's just not wait anymore and get into it.
Are you not amazed?
Something fire. Fire.
Behold, flame! The great Donnie Blaze needs assistance from a volunteer.
Donnie Blaze?
Miss, if you may. Round of applause. Donnie Blaze!
Okay, when real magic exists, this would be hard.
Do the thing. Do it.
He's got a sling ring. Oh, she's gonna get sucked in.
Donnie Blaze!
She's falling right in there.
FYI, these don't smell like anything.
Okay. Wow, I really thought she was gonna fall in. There she goes.
Where am I? He sent me to a diff dimension, and a talking goat helped me escape a lava pit in exchange for 6 drops of my blood. Oop. Then I kind of like browned out, and now I'm here.
You look happy. I guess you saw that Wong is back. God, everybody loves Wong. It's like giving the show Twitter armor for a week.
Good morning, sweetheart.
How can I help you?
I'm having an issue with a magician. Notice how I use the word magician in quotes?
I did, yes.
Because he's not an actual magician. I need to make an example of Donnie Blaze.
I'm-
Set a precedent that no unlicensed persons ever attempt to practice the mystic arts again.
It's very good.
Cheap human tricks.
I'm having a real problem with them using Donnie Blaze.
Great. Now your dating profile.
It makes me feel like there's not Johnny Blaze out there
Did you just
now.
woo-woo a parole brief?
Sorcerer Supreme doesn't engage in competition, but I am more mystical in my sleep.
No one is proving anything. Here is a cease and desist.
Cease and desist?
You were about to get sent to another dimension.
What cease and desist? Swipe right for a hot date.
Oh, did you get a ticket for texting? You can finish it if you want. I'm not sick. I promise to tell the truth. No, seriously.
I've met her.
Could you state your name for the record?
If I may say a few words, Your Highness.
Your
This
Highness.
case travels beyond these courtroom walls. The men you see are seeking to wield the power of gods. Can we send Donnie to the mirror dimension? He probably won't even die.
I would love that, but that will ruin our case.
Probably won't
Wongers,
even
can we
die.
get froyo?
No.
We could talk about The Sopranos.
Fine, no more spoilers.
Ugh, whatever. I was over it after Tony killed Christopher anyway.
Madison,
What? I mean, he was like a son to him. It was so sad.
Nikki, I'm just finishing this brief.
How about we try something a little different?
Oh, what's he gonna do? Yeah, this isn't gonna end well. Oh.
main man.
Donnie Blaze, what did you do?
A funny story. Not exactly sure. What should I do?
Call my lawyer.
Right in the middle of the lobby, in front of everyone, I had to transform. I'll be right back.
Come on, I feel like your dad.
Actual demons? They don't die?
Oh, that's great.
You know, these are technically billable hours.
Demons, Fitzwalker!
Hello, fellas.
Good evening, my lady.
Before I send my little friend here back to his own dimension, I was wondering if you would agree to the terms of our cease and desist.
Maybe. Fine, okay, we agree.
My office will be in touch. She's suing me over the name She-Hulk? But that's my name.
Now that you trademarked it first, right?
Oh, is that how it works, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Kind of a bummer way to end this episode. I bet there's a fun tag.
Blue carousel?
No. What's Blue Carousel?
I don't know, it's blue. Manhattan?
Yep, Manhattan had it.
Slow gin?
Okay.
I don't know if they do bottomless gin and tonic,
No.
but we will find it.
Okay.
Oh my god, yum.
Okay, this is the first time this has happened to me since this series started, and I don't quite know how I feel about that episode. I enjoyed all the magician stuff, but at the same time, it was kind of wearing thin. Like I felt like the gag went on too long, so to speak. It wasn't quite landing for me the entire time. I was laughing at times, I was chuckling at other times, and I was even smiling, but there have been funnier episodes, funnier jokes, things like that. And the story itself was kind of bothering me to a degree, and this is why. Donnie Blaze. Donnie Blaze. It is an obvious riff on Johnny Blaze. If they're going to riff on Johnny Blaze, it makes me think we're never going to see a Johnny Blaze in the MCU. I mean, that could be a stretch, that could be a leap, but it does make me think that they don't have any plans to use the name Johnny Blaze, and therefore using a magician named Donnie Blaze as a nod to the character, they can get away with that. And not that it has to be, if we get Ghost Rider, that we have to use Johnny Blaze. But I had always imagined there would be a version of Johnny Blaze out there, and this just makes me think we're probably not getting him. And then to turn him into a joke when he's the original Ghost Rider, that's just not sitting well with me. And I might be reading too much into this. There's a very good chance I'm reading too much into this. But if we had a character show up before Steve Rogers that was named, Stephen Rogers or Steven Rogers, it would make me think the same thing, that you're not going to have a Steve Rogers in the MCU, because otherwise the audience can get those names confused. So they generally don't have characters named similarly. That's just a writing thing. You just normally don't have characters with similar names because it can become too confusing. And again, I could be reading too much into this. It's a small concern. And maybe, you know what, D23, as I'm recording this, D23 is this coming weekend. So they could announce a Ghost Rider movie for all I know, and Johnny Blaze is in it. I don't know, but it was just irking me. It was just this little unsettling during the episode. I kept going back to it in my head thinking, why did you have to name him Donnie Blaze? Why not just give him any other name? And I know they made a joke about Wong making an episode bulletproof, but I kind of don't think so with this one, because this might be my least favorite episode of the season so far. Because I don't feel like we had much traction on anything. It was a nice, fun little story with Wong, but I feel like the A and B stories weren't really working that well. Yes, Jennifer's trying to date as a Hulk. That's fine. But then when you match it with the Wong storyline, which wasn't that compelling, then suddenly the whole episode doesn't work. If you'd paired either of those stories with a different story, a stronger A story or a stronger B story, then I feel like the episode would have been fine. It would have held up better, I should say. But these two stories combined, I feel like it was just kind of a middling episode. which that's not awful considering I still had a good time. It was 30 minutes of me chuckling here and there, and I did enjoy seeing Wong. So, yeah, it was fine. I think they just need to get to the overall plot of who's trying to take Jen's blood, maybe give us more compelling legal cases in the MCU, like things that we would really see, not just joke cases, like things that would really impact the MCU. I think that would really sit well in a show like this, because that is actually one thing that Ally McBeal typically did was, yes, it had the funny stuff, but it also had drama. They treated the legal stuff with earnest. So I think they need to kind of do the same thing here. They need to, if one story is a joke, the other one needs to be done in earnest. Like I felt that, like with Blonsky, there was enough earnestness behind it that I could get behind it. And then the same with what was going on in Jen's life, because she was still trying to tackle being She-Hulk. They actually balanced it in those stories where, yes, it was funny, but there was some earnestness to it. And they did that with both Blonsky's storyline, and they did it with Jen, you know, coming to terms with her She-Hulk persona, if I can say She-Hulk. So if they're going to do an A and B storyline where one of them's full comedy, then I think the other one needs to be done in earnest. And I don't think they did that with this episode. It made it all funny instead of, you know, having a lot of heart, even though I definitely could relate to the whole dating thing, but still wasn't that earnest. Oh, and one last thing real quick. I feel like the whole Wong taking this to court thing was even weirder, because shouldn't he be the one policing magic? Isn't that a part of what the Sorcerer Supreme does, is they watch out for magical issues and they take action? When did they start going through legal systems to do that? Is this, it's a little weird. It's just a little weird. I know this is a comedy, but it's still in the MCU and should be abiding by MCU rules. So why isn't Wong just literally going to this guy, taking the sling ring back and leaving? I mean, he could just magically take it, I'm sure. I don't get it. It's a little weird. And that's what I mean about tackling real MCU issues. This didn't feel like a real MCU issue. This seems like an issue that they invented for the show, rather than something that would really be an issue in the MCU, because the Sorcerer Supreme, the Sorcerers at Kamar-Taj, they are the ones that should be policing this. They shouldn't be going through a legal system. Heck, where's Baron Mordo? Why hasn't he taken this guy out yet? That would have been a more compelling storyline of, oh yes, the Sorcerer Supreme came for my sling ring and now I want to sue him. That would have been an interesting storyline. That would have fit more in the MCU to me than Wong deciding, I'm going to sue this guy to make him stop using his sling ring. Because he could just argue the sling ring's property of Kamar-Taj. It was just weird. It was just weird. All right, what did you guys think of this episode? Leave your comments below. Are you a little unsure about this whole Donnie Blaze issue like I am? Do you think the Sorcerer Supreme and his people should be policing magic? What do you think dating would be like in the MCU? Whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel out immensely and lets me just get more content to you guys. All right, and before I go, as always, please take care of yourselves and please take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.